You might remember this story from your high school English, from the Canterbury Tales. And the story is called Ragnel. King Arthur loved Guinevere, but she was a mystery to him. They had argued. He was not entirely certain exactly about what. He had hurt her, but again, he was uncertain exactly how. And oh, how he missed Merlin, his mentor, his guide. But Merlin had aged backwards and was hidden in a cave behind a great stone placed there by a woman. Merlin had his own troubles. He could be no help. And so, to ease his mind, Arthur decided to go hunting. He took only bow and quiver and his horse. He left armor and Excalibur behind. And he rode out from the gates of Camelot towards the forest of Englewood. And as he approached Englewood, it was that loam of the evening, that time between sunset and moonrise, that time when the dog becomes the wolf. And just at the edge of the forest, out from the trees, there came a white stag, a great stag with 5 points on each of its antlers, 5 springs. That creature was prince of the forest. And Arthur felt like he had seen it before. Where had he seen this creature? Was it in a dream? No, Merlin himself had told him about it. Merlin had said, "Wart, when you see the white stag, give chase. All the world depends on it." And just then, the stag lowered its antlers, touched the ground, turned and bolted into the forest as if inviting him to give chase. He nickered to his horse, and off they went. The chase was on. They went through the woods, the horse, well trained how to go over all the tree roots and all the uneven ground. Deeper and deeper and deeper into the forest they went, deeper and deeper and deeper, until they came to a clearing at the very center of the forest. And suddenly, Arthur's horse pulled up and stopped, and Arthur himself found that he was unable to move. And there was a smell in the air. The smell of eggs, too old and long forgotten. And a dark green mist filled the clearing, and that mist came together, and it formed a black knight that stood before Arthur. No feather on the knight's helmet, no insignia on his shield to tell land or rank. "Arthur, I am glad that you have come." Now he knew that voice, but where was it? Around the knight's neck there was a chain, and hanging from that chain a green amulet that hung over the knight's heart and pulsed with a green light like a heartbeat. "Revenge has a heart of its own." He knew the voice. It was Sir Gromer of the Northlands, Sir Gromer, whom he had bested in a duel the year before. Bested him fairly and watched Gromer's soul leave his body. And the only reason he had dueled him was because Gromer had kept his own knights in a dark dungeon. "Sir Gromer, aye, revenge has a second life. Sir Grommer, I am without armor or sword. There is no honor here. But free me, and I will ride back to Camelot, fetch them, return. We will duel, you will best me fairly, and your soul will have peace. I do not wish to kill you quickly. I will kill you slowly with a curse. I give to you a riddle, Arthur. And with that, the Black Knight reached in his armor and pulled out a small scroll. He tossed it at Arthur. Arthur, now able to move, caught the scroll in the air. Come back in a year, and if you do not have the answer to the riddle, death to you. And with that, the knight dissolved back into the green mist made of magic and madness. Too dark in the forest to read the scroll, Arthur held it tight, turned his horse, and made his way out of Englewood. And when he had come out of the forest by the moonlight, he opened the scroll and read the riddle. And he missed Merlin even more. It'll kill me, sure. And he made his way back to Camelot. Well, when he came back into the castle, his nephew, Sir Gawain, was the first to greet him. And Gawain saw that the king's mood was thick and heavy. My liege, what troubles you? And Arthur made his way to the throne, which he called his chair, and sat upon it, heavy. And eventually Gawain was able to tease out of Arthur what had happened and the news of the curse. And Arthur handed Gawain the scroll, and Gawain opened it and read it and said, Uncle, it's not a hard riddle. He's so young. Surely it's not that difficult. We will call for the queen. We will ask her. And so they called for the queen, and Guinevere came with all her ladies in waiting, and Gawain read to her the scroll with the riddle upon it, and the riddle was simply this. What is it that a woman desires most? Now, Guinevere had always wanted to be asked this. What is it that a woman desires most? Yes, what? Most. Like most. Yes, most. Well, I should desire a full revolution of the sun and moon before I answer. And so she left with the ladies in waiting, getting really no answer at all. And the next day she came back, full revolution of the sun and moon, and they were ready. What is it? And the answer that she gave was a bit of a long run-on sentence and really no answer at all. And again she left. And Gawain said, Uncle, don't despair. We'll just simply ask all the women. Yes, we will go about the kingdom and we will ask all the women what it is they desire most. And we will take a scroll and we will write their answers down. And after a time, a sort of cream will rise to the top, like the milk in the bucket when you milk the cow. Gawain had squired in the barns. So that's exactly what they did. They went out into the kingdom. They began to ask all the women. And when they asked the pub keeper, as she put the ale down in front of them, she said, what a woman desires most is more customers. And they asked the very young women, what is it? And they said, I should like a pretty dress and some jewelry. And the slightly older ones, I should like a handsome boy to see me in my pretty dress and my jewelry. And the slightly older ones, I'd like a husband. And those who were married, oh, children. And those with children, sleep. They asked the old women, I should like more time and a comfortable chair by the fire. There's a grandchild on the way, you know. And on it went, and the scroll got longer and longer, and in time, a sort of creamish rose to the topish, but no Excalibur, no sure answer. And so when the year had passed and the priest blessed Arthur, he knew it was his last. And when he kissed Guinevere, he felt it was his last. And he mounted his horse and he rode back to Englewood, and again the white stag was there at the edge of the forest to greet him, and again he gave chase into the forest, deeper and deeper, but not all the way in. Because as he rode with the horse, he pulled up, because there was a bog where there had never been a bog in the forest before. And as he stopped looking at this bog, he looked, and the trees around it were walking. And then, from the center of the bog, it gathered itself up into a figure. And whether that figure was made of leaf or twig or mud or pain, he could not say. Was it woman? Woman? Aye. What curse brings you here, woman? I am cursed by my brother, the same who curses you with a riddle that has an answer. You know the answer to the riddle, my lady? Aye, I do. And what would you have to tell it to me? I would have my heart's desire. Done. And with that, he slid off of his horse, walked over to her, and she whispered the answer in his ear. And immediately, his spine was Excalibur. He knew it. He got back on his horse. He rode deep into the forest, into that center. The mist had already formed into the black night. Arthur, you come tardy to your death. I am tardy, but not to my death. I have the answer to your riddle. Nonsense, there is no answer. Women are fickle, like the wind, ever changing. And Arthur slid off his horse, made his way to the knight, lifted the visor on the knight's helmet, and whispered the answer into the black knight's ear. And the moan that came from Sir Gromer, and the way he fades from this story, I will leave you to imagine on your own. Arthur got back on his horse, made his way back to where the bog had been, and there she was, leaf and twig and mud and pain. My lady, you have saved me. What can I give you? I would have Sir Gawain as my husband. My lady, I cannot give you that. a person. But I can take you to Sir Gawain. I can tell him what you have done for me. Would that be enough? It would. And so Arthur walked with his horse and the bog, and they walked back to Camelot. Well, when they arrived, as you can imagine, there was a great commotion to see the king safe and returned. Everyone gathered, including Sir Gawain, and Arthur told the story. This woman, Bog, had saved me. She gave me the answer to the riddle. The knight is vanished. She would have, in return, Sir Gawain as her husband, and all the women fainted. But Guinevere stood firm and held her heart. And Sir Gawain came over, and he went down on one knee, and he took the bog's hand in his, and he said, I have pledged my loyalty and my life to the service of my king, and you have saved him. And so I would be your husband. I will give you my life. Well, they fetched a priest, and it was quickly done. Guinevere thought it was best not to have a party. But she led them to the wedding chamber, because the vows are just a contract. The marriage is sealed with an exchange of flesh and blood and kiss. And so when the wedding chamber door had closed, Gawain stood before his bog, and she held out her hand and said, kiss me. Now Gawain had been reared well and badly, both in the same, like two sides of the same coin, and it was his bad side that turned up now, and he turned away from her, and he said, I cannot kiss you, for I have given my heart to another. I have fallen in love with another. Is she beautiful? Yes, she is. Beauty fades like the apple that falls from the tree and withers. Is she wealthy? Yes, she is. Wealth is its own curse. It brings people like bees to the flower, always wanting something. Is she noble? Aye, she is. Ha! Nobility by birth is a cheat. True nobility is born of action and spirit. When you kiss her, do you keep your eyes open? I do. Then look into my eyes. And Gawain looked into the eyes of the bog, and there was a connection that passed between them, and she looked at him. What I am is not who I am. And with that, Gawain turned his coin to the good side, and he took her hand, and he planted on that hand a beginning. And with that, the room shimmered with magic, and she was transformed into his beautiful lover, Ragnel. And he was stunned. He had lost Ragnel some time before, could not find her no matter where he searched. My lady, what is the magic here? Is this your form or the bog? And she said, oh, Gawain, you have lifted half the curse. And now, my love, you must lift the other half. You must decide what form I will be by day and by night. Will I be the form of your beloved Ragnel in the day, so that you can parade me around like a jewel, but then bogged by night I will be? Or would you have me bogged by day, so that everyone can see the penance that you do for your loyalty to your king? But then I would be Ragnel at night. You must choose, Gawain, and you must choose quickly. Choose now. How can I do bogged by day and Ragnel by night? Ragnel by day, I can't choose. You must, Gawain, you must. No, I can't choose. I can't choose because it is you who must live it. If you are to be bogged by day, then it is you who must face the stares of the people in the kingdom. If you are bogged by night, then it is you who must never know the caress of a lover's touch. No, I cannot choose because it is you who must live it. Is that your answer, Gawain? Yes, it is. And the room shimmered with magic. Yes, Gawain, you have done it. Of course I choose this, my true form. Gawain, you have lifted the curse. You have answered the king's riddle. What riddle? What is it that a woman desires most? I don't know. Her sovereignty, Gawain. Her sovereignty. To sit on the throne of her own heart, the same as any man. That is what a woman desires most. And oh, the kiss that followed. The next morning, no one in the kingdom could understand why they stayed in that wedding chamber so long. But when they emerged, they told the story of the curse and how it had been lifted. And then Guinevere thought it a good idea to have a party. And so they did. And that party lasted for 3 days. And although that party went on and on and on, this is the end of my story.